Today we are continuing, obviously, with the rainbow. We're continuing to talk about living out loud. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wednesday Woo at 2. I'm Mel Morris, and today the universe has continued to be testing me. More specifically, Mercury in retrograde has been testing me, and that's why I'm hopefully streaming to you right now. So welcome. Today we are continuing, obviously, with the rainbow. We're continuing to talk about living out loud. Hey, Wanda, good to see you. And if you were able to see our, I think now posted video of the magical cartographers from yesterday, Mercury was messing with us pretty bad yesterday, wouldn't let us continue to stay live within Facebook. So we just continued the conversation over in Zoom, recorded it, and then posted it today. So if you didn't get a chance to see it yet, make sure to find that. We had a really great conversation last night. But that is a perfect example of how living out loud isn't necessarily an easy thing to do. Right? And so let's talk about that a little bit today. And I'd love to hear, I've been asking people all month to share something that they're really proud about, having, a moment in time, something that they're doing currently that they're really proud of, that, every one of us needs to hear about. I'd love for you to post that in the chat, whether you're watching now or later, so we can kind of share in that pride along with you. But when we talk about living out loud and what that can look like, it's not easy, right? I mean, yes, I'm talking to you underneath the rainbow currently, but, it takes a storm cloud oftentimes to get to the rainbow, right? It takes getting through a lot of really difficult shit and clearing things away and going through a lot of emotions to get to the other side, right? To get to something really beautiful. And so when I posted, what if we only did what we wanted to do? Well, that's the rub, right? The rub is figuring out what is it that I really want to do. And I think more than anything, the clients that I get coming in, that's their question. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? Right? Where am I supposed to be? What is my life supposed to look like? And I think the challenge is that we so want to, hey, Luana, we so want to say that we're living out loud and we're doing big, bold, brave things. And I'm sure that you are. But I want you to ask yourself a question. And that question is, am I doing what I really want to be doing? Right? And I mean, this is a big question, but, we've talked here before about how often are we doing things that are expected of us? How often are we doing things that, our parents had an expectation of us, our family had an expectation of us, perhaps our community, whatever that looks like, has an expectation of what we're supposed to be doing and what it's supposed to look like, right? And we get caught up in that momentum and we're doing things that are amazing and that we feel good about. But when we take a moment to step back, we may find that the question of, am I doing what I really want to be doing, hasn't been answered. Perhaps really hasn't even been asked. Perhaps you haven't even asked that question of yourself. Right? So I'll use myself as an example. I mean, I've had many career lives, over the, I'm barely in my 20s. So I've crammed a lot of things in there, starting with having a child at 5 and then, take it from there. math. But seriously, when I left, specifically when I left working, when I left Rochester and I moved to Philadelphia, I was the department director for a university just out, well, it was a college at the time, now it's the university, but right outside of Philadelphia. And it was wonderful. It was amazing. I started their Department of Diversity, and there were some amazing things I was able to do and create and affect change in a lot of different ways. And I was super proud about that. It's one of the posts that you'll see this month of things I'm proud about. And I really enjoyed it. And at some point, I realized that I had done all that I could, all that felt necessary for me, and I needed to do something else. And so when I decided that I was going to leave working at the college, people were like, what? What do you mean? Why would you leave here? Like, it's a good job. It looks great on paper. You're a department director. Like, why would you leave? Why would you do something else? And it would have been easy for me to stay and just continue doing what I was doing regardless. I mean, I didn't hate the job, right? But I knew that it wasn't aligned with who I was and really what I wanted for my life. And I wasn't going to be able to continue to live authentically if I just stayed just because that's the expectation, because other people thought, well, that's a good gig, you shouldn't give it up, right? And I'd love to hear if, you've had that experience. So I left there and I went to, not long after that, I started working for the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, where I was doing the public education campaign for marriage equality. And I mean, I didn't know that was coming, that I didn't know that was necessarily on the horizon. That was one of those things where I heard about this opportunity. I heard they were creating this department, and I really made the decision, like, I got to be involved in this. And on paper, maybe I wasn't qualified, or maybe it was a much bigger job than people would have said I should have been doing. But I knew that I had something I could contribute to that. I knew that I would be completely badass in that role. And so I literally stopped, like not in a illegal way, given that I'm talking about working with a bunch of lawyers, but I showed up. I showed up continuously to events and to their office spaces and just made myself known because I knew that this is what I had to do, that this was me showing up authentically. And it didn't matter, right? Anything else didn't really matter. And did I question along the way, like, am I crazy? Yeah. Right? Am I crazy for leaving, making more money to move over here and do something else? Yeah, I asked myself those questions continuously, but I knew that I had to just go with this feeling of being more authentic, living more authentically. And that was, at that time, more important to me. And I was able to, right? Fortunately, like, I didn't have little kids at home anymore I had to feed. I wasn't going to go hungry. Vinny and I were already together, and we were already married at that point. And so I had that stability. So I also want to throw that little caveat in there that it isn't just like you should quit your job and follow your passion without a plan and hopefully don't become homeless. Like, I'm not going to tell you that, but I'm saying to you that it's important to take a step back wherever you are, right at this moment, no matter the job that you're in, if you've already started a business, right? I know a lot of business owners who, they have this amazing idea. I started this business, like, I busted my ass to make this work, and now I'm doing it. But at some point they wake up and say, like, is this really what I want to be doing? right? Is this really who I am authentically? Or am I just here because I made a choice at one point to do this thing and I did it, and then I never made another choice of whether this was really for me or for not, right? Let me know if that makes sense. I have a friend who may or may not be watching who has been in the world of politics, right? And there's this assumption that because she was amazing as a local politician, that she should continue doing that work, right? That's the expectation of the community, that like, you got to get back in there, you got to do the work, right? And maybe that's what feels really authentic to her, but she has to be able to step back and say, is this really what I want to do? Or am I following the expectations of these other people, right? Am I doing this work? Am I thinking about, politics in this example, because that's what people know me for, because that's, again, what people want me to be doing? Or is it because I love doing this work and I don't want to do something else, right? I have another friend who just connected with me this week, one of my oldest friends, not as far as being like elderly, but that I've known the longest. I've known her since middle school. And, we stay connected on social. And, this question of like, where am I supposed to be came up. And, she started to realize that, maybe the choices she had been making about how she was living her life had more to do with staying close to her family, overseeing, her children or grandchildren, right? Staying in this like mom forever mode versus what she might really want to be doing, right? Is there anything wrong with that? No. I mean, if that's what you love, if that's what you want to do, if that's what feels amazing and you feel like I'm going to like just excel at doing this, then do it, right? Don't let me or anybody else tell you that you should be doing something different. But I need you to take a step back. I need her to take a step back and say, is this really what's going to bring me joy, right? Is this really me showing up for myself? And then by extension, showing up for the people that I love, that I care about. And then by bigger extension, showing up in the world, right? And this is a perfect time. Tomorrow is the new moon in Gemini. And again, I will say I'm not an astrologer. I listen to a lot of different voices around this. So this isn't like my research necessarily, but new moons are all about setting intentions, right? And I wrote in my newsletter, if you saw it this week, about, normally I would tell you that for the new moon, I want you to really sit down and start thinking about, setting intentions for the next upcoming month and maybe a little bit beyond that. But there was this caution of, because Mercury's in retrograde, right? Because tomorrow's also is a solar eclipse with the new moon, that energy is going to feel a little bit different, right? We may feel very scattered right now. I know I do. Again, my technology is just doing whatever the heck it wants to do these last couple of days. But this time around this, again, solar eclipse in this Gemini, which is all about like chaotic ideas and thoughts and things, not without structure, but kind of all over the place, right? When you're thinking about setting your intentions right now, especially with this solar eclipse, I need you to think about it in terms of, how am I living out loud, right? How can I do the things that I really want to do? And that's not in a like superficial way, like, oh, I want to go to the beach. Okay, great. I mean, go to the beach, right? But when you say, what the title today, what if you just did what you wanted to do? What if, right, when you're setting your intentions, asking like, what if I did what was truly authentic to me and what truly brought me joy, right? Like how the addition to that would be the how do I get there, right? How do I make that truly authentic to me? How do I dig a little bit deeper below the surface and make sure that um, I'm not just doing what other people want. I'm not living up to other people's expectations, that this is really about me and showing up authentically, right? So that's really, I really want you to spend the time to do that because, again, I mean, it's Pride Month, right? I want you to enjoy this idea of showing up and showing out and being brave and being bold for you, right? Not for the photo op of social media, but because it's what's going to make you feel amazing. But being mindful of having a little quiet time, stepping back just a little bit, just enough to really ask yourself, what choices do I really need to make? And I'm going to be talking more throughout the month about this idea of choices and, if there are some connections you'd like from helping, because I'm going to start offering some workshops. I'm really excited because I haven't done workshops in a long time. But I'm going to be offering some workshops coming up next month. And we're going to be using some different tools to help you focus, help you connect with your intuition, help you really start to make some choices in your life that are authentic to you specifically. That's one of those tools, of course, is tarot and oracle cards. I mean, you see me using them all the time. But I'm going to be offering some workshops where you get the opportunity to, again, start looking at some of the symbols and ideas that are coming across in your life to make sure that you're really living authentically. So I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully all of this was recorded because I can't recreate these conversations just as they came out. But I would love to hear from you. I'd love for you to post here in the chat, post in the WTF with Mel Facebook group, something you're really proud about right now, right? Something that just makes you feel amazing, that you want to celebrate. I'd love for you to post that. Or even post as you're thinking about these new intentions and diving a little bit deeper. What is something that's come up for you intuitively that you're ready to start moving towards, right? Maybe we can help nudge you just a little bit to get going. I'd love to hear about that. I'd love to support you in that. And, I'm the consummate cheerleader, so I'd love to be able to do that for you. So thanks for checking me out today. Thanks for dealing with all of this crazy Mercury retrograde BS that is plaguing my electronics this week. I appreciate you sticking by, and definitely stay connected. Let me know how I can help, and more importantly, stay magical, y'all. Love you.